Bizarre showdown at GPHC. Government to sell Marriott shares. And Guyana signs contract for gas to energy plant. Hi, I'm Enrico Belfort, and this is Uncut News. If you see news happening, send us a tip on WhatsApp at 592-659-6151. Last night, a campaign by the Public Works Ministry to move vendors from in front of the GPHC ended with the mayor of Georgetown throwing himself under a literal truck and being called a racist by the business community. After multiple warnings, the ministry decided to break down vendor stalls from in front of the hospital as their illegal operations caused traffic jams so terrible that some people are going so far as to blame said vendors for the deaths of their loved ones who were unable to make it to the hospital in time. So, seeking to score some points with his voter base, the mayor decided to come to the scene, blocking police officers and even throwing himself under a truck to impede the process. However, he's now in hot water because at some point, the mayor/Hindu pandit accused the president of, really of turning the nation into an Islamic state.
Because I'm a Hindu and he's a Muslim? That's why he may not want to work with me? And this thing will go down dangerous for our country, Mr. President. This will go down dangerous for our country. Is this state gonna become a Muslim state? This is bothering me right now. If this state will become a Muslim state because I'm a Hindu.
Good statement, but okay. I could see if he said the president was turning Guyana into a mindless, shallow, vapid, money-obsessed, brainless consumer state. But ISIS, he is surely not. Anyway, the mayor has since apologized, while Minister Ben and the private sector are calling for him to resign. Although we truly are a nation of selective outrage. Meanwhile, the Minister of Local Government took time out of his busy schedule to have a meeting with vendors of the Monrepo market one day after they tore out pieces of the new market structure in protest. The meeting was to show the ministry's commitment to hearing the complaints of the vendors. This morning, 31-year-old barber Peter Charles fatally shot his girlfriend, 31-year-old legal counsel Asasha Ramzan, a recent law school grad and attorney working at the Ministry of Legal Affairs, before Charles decided to then turn the gun on himself. The police said their bodies were found in a vehicle parked at Bell West Canal No. 2 Polder on the west bank of Demerara. You know, you have a lot of men in this nation who really don't deserve having a woman. Last night, major salary increases were announced for healthcare workers nationwide. These increases, which are in addition to the 8% previously announced, will take effect from January 2023. Depending on the position, healthcare workers will receive an increase anywhere from 13 to 78% on their salaries. As usual, they are not paying us to give the announcement. So, if this applies to you, you'll just have to look up to find the specifics about how much you'll actually get added to your salary. Sorry, healthcare workers.
Did you know it's bad luck to start the new year with a broke-up truck? Make this a December to remember with Powered Automotive. Powered Automotive has truck parts and spares from all the major brands you know and love at prices you won't find anywhere else. Visit them at 491 EE Eccles or call or WhatsApp them on 697-0171. Save big on truck parts at Powered Automotive, the #1 heavy-duty truck parts store in Guyana.
You can multiply your cash by selling Digicel Top-Up. This is a legit way you can earn some extra money at your business or to supplement your current hustle. Become a top-up vendor quick and easily by linking with Cellular Plus. Call them on telephone number 685-3109 for more info. The government has awarded a $1.38 billion contract to a Dutch company, Cool BV, for the removal of 13 submerged wrecks and obstructions from waterways across the nation. The wreck removal project is expected to be completed within 8 months and will cover the entrances to the Demerara, Purbeys, Pomeroon, Wainie, and Essequibo rivers, as well as off the coast of Guyana in general. It was noted that some of the wrecks in question have been there since the mid-1900s. The Guyana government, through its holding company Nissel, is seeking expressions of interest for the sale of its shares in the Guyana Marriott Hotel. The hotel was controversially built with state and other funds and had been unable to service a key loan which the government then had to take over. the hotel had its origins under the last Jagdeo administration. Now, this Jagdeo administration, they're trying to get rid of it. Anyway, financials for the hotel have not been made available to the public for a number of years, even though the hotel opened in 2015. And despite all the rabble-rousel about it from the opposition, the current opposition that is, they still did absolutely nothing to change the situation whilst in government. The Ministry of Housing has announced that it has surpassed its house lot allocation target for 2022 by distributing more than 10,000 house lots within 16 new housing areas across regions 3, 4, 5, and 6, 7 of which are on the east coast of Demerara, and the ministry hopes to reach 20,500 by month's end. The government allocated $10 billion to develop residential lands along the east coast of Demerara. In 2023, another $10 billion will be spent to develop housing areas in Hope, Hope Lowland, and Good Hope, among other communities. Now for today's oil update. This morning, the government signed a US $759 million contract with Linzeka and CH4 Group for the engineering, procurement, and construction of the Guyana Integrated Natural Gas Liquid Plant and a 300-megawatt electrical power plant in Wales, West Bank, Demerara. Based on the nation's revised low-carbon development strategy, Ghana will phase out the use of about 70% of the non-renewable fossil fuels by 2027 through an energy mix of natural gas and renewable energy sources. However, the plant is expected to operate for another 25 years. In other oil-related news, on Monday, Exxon's lawyer, attorney Edward Luku, asked the High Court to strike down Glenn Law's case challenging the government's decision to grant massive tax waivers to oil companies, more specifically Exxon. Law had filed a case against the government this past January. However, Exxon weaseled their way in, and they subsequently were added as a respondent in the matter. Since then, they argued that Law's application should not even be allowed to proceed, since it was filed erroneously under the private law proceedings. They also said that Law cannot legally consider himself an aggrieved party, thus they believe he has no case to even bring to the court. The case is now set for ruling in February 2023. As an independent online news entity, being politically objective can cost you a lot of money in lost sponsorship opportunities. That's because most local companies are often too scared to associate themselves with a news entity that is uncompromising with the truth. We do appreciate our sponsors, as their support is what has allowed us to maintain our integrity without fear and remain dedicated to you, our viewers. Every night, thousands of viewers rely on Uncut News because they are tired of the biased and poorly presented mainstream media in Guyana. But to truly compete, we need your help to grow Uncut News from being the most watched online news to the most watched news in Guyana, period. Help us by becoming a monthly subscriber today. There are special rewards at every subscription level, including your name in the credits, personalized gifts, and more. Your monthly contribution helps us to stay independent by spending less time worrying about paying the bills and more time on keeping you informed. So click the link in the description of this video and become a subscriber today. $0.99 million down with around $170,000 monthly for 5 years, and it is yours. Call or WhatsApp 662-0844 for more info. Visit the showrooms at 171 Peter Street, Queenstown. A lot to Amashi. And tell them to get entry for this sweet deal.
It's December, which means it's officially robbery season. That's why you need to get security from Sheriff Security. Sheriff Security has armed and unarmed guards, Marine Patrol, Canine Services. These people even got drones. Why? Because your security is their highest priority. You've seen the rest. Now hire the best. Hire Sheriff Security Service today.
Now for our Uncut News, viewers poll question of the day. Every day we pose a question of current events in Ghana, the region, the diaspora, and how you feel it plays to us. But before we get into that, we want to say a special thank you to David Griffith, our first paid subscriber. Thank you for your donation, and we'll be sure to keep up the good work. Last night I asked, how can we convince the UG graduates to stay instead of emigrating? Marlo T says they can offer high-paying jobs that have room for growth and promotions, housing for the graduates and families, and security to make them feel safe. Then throw in incentives that encourage students to go to UG in the first place. Bonuses, work vehicles, paid vacations, etc. It may seem like a lot to some, but way more money is being spent in other places. So why not? You know, you're absolutely right. We pay a lot of these expatriates so much money to come from their nations to work over here when we could just be paying our own a little extra to make them stay. Anyway, Jay Jairam says, make the work environment competitive with overseas. Promise and deliver to them a great 401k and pension plan. Don't ignore the ordinary Guyanese. These ordinary people go overseas and do very well for themselves. Indeed, it seems like the only thing that truly holds most Guyanese back from success as well living in Guyana. And the state needs to do everything in its power to change that situation. And finally, Leandre Stellenberg says, good living wages, housing opportunities is a good start to keep young workers in the nation. No one wants to wait till they're retired to enjoy their life, especially not today's young people. Indeed, if we can give rapid growth to our youth, why not? Now for tonight's question. How do you feel about the government's decision to sell its shares of the Marriott Hotel? Should they sell their shares from other state-run corporations as well? And if so, which one? I mean, personally, I think Isugo, but I want to hear from you all. Think about that question. Tell us in the comments below. If your response is good enough, we just might feature it in our next episode. Anyway, that's all the time we have for tonight, and check us out tomorrow for another. Until then, I'm Rico Bullfoot saying good night, folks.